Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I must compliment. I hope I am audible now. Can someone?
You are audible and visible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. At the outset, I would like to compliment PhD and the Invest India for putting this program in a very timely manner. You know, this is a very important subject on which we are deliberating today. The Climate Summit 2021 and the issue of hydrogen ecosystem required for it. Today, the hydrogen is possibly the most talked subject in the energy domain because every week or every now and then we are having some webinars, some conferences around the subject and roundtable meetings, etc. So this is very timely, and being the president of the Hydrogen Association of India, which we created when I was at Indian Oil Corporation in the board of IOC as director R&D, we are continuing with that, and we have been trying to have the policy interventions done from the government side to how we can help the industry. So we have been working in this area for more than a decade now. But actually, this is the time now when everybody has started talking for the last 1 or 2 years. We are in the COVID-19 midway. I hope there is no third wave, and all of the listeners and participants in the conference remain safe. But this COVID-19 has taught us some lessons. It has shown us how do we, use this fossil sources which around us. How do we handle energy? Otherwise, the global surface temperatures, I think a lot has been talked, so I need not go into those details that with business as usual, the temperature rise will be 2 to 3 degrees centigrade, and we must act now and we must act fast. So hydrogen rightly is being talked as a subject which is very important, which can play a very, very important role in reducing the global warming in time to come. So, but India, the presentation made by Mr. Mats Rinaldo from DNV very rightly said that India has some peculiar issues. And Mr. Ajay Shankar also very rightly said that we have specific needs are going to be. As far as India is concerned, we are faced with twin problems. The other countries in the world will have a, stagnant energy demand that will not be growing. And with some energy efficiency, in fact, their energy consumption will go down. But India's per capita energy consumption is so low today, and with the aspirations growing, and the growing aspirations of the middle class, growing economy, growing GDP, etc., I think we will need more energy. One of the estimates made by IEA that we will be perhaps more than doubling the energy need in next 20 years or so. I think that energy has to be supplied, and that has to be clean energy. So India very rightly has embarked upon massive program thanks to the government interventions, the policy interventions, the announcement made by our Honorable Prime Minister on 15th August about solar hydrogen. And the renewable energy has been in focus of this government for last several years. So now with the 450 megawatt target for 2030, and Mr. Ambani in the morning said that 100 megawatt will be supplied by Reliance alone. So I think this target is going to be surpassed. So that's a positive side of it, but still we'll need energy. We cannot wish away the consumption of the fossil sources for at least 2 decades. We'll have to continue, each country will have to continue to use thermal power plants for electricity generation for some time to come, unless we have sufficient renewable energy to cater to our growing needs as well. And the refineries will also continue. So the policies will have to be centered around, giving incentives for production of clean energy, not alone hydrogen, but other energy, clean energy. So all energy transition efforts will have to be towards cleaner, resilient, and modern energy sector, which we have to build. That's the first thing that the policies must be centered around. I will repeat, centered around cleaner, resilient, and modern energy sector, which we need to build in this country. And we are capable of doing it, and we will do it. At the same time, many people have been talking about that blue hydrogen is not good. Some studies have come that, in fact, that is more damaging and all those kind of things, But the green hydrogen has to piggyback on blue hydrogen. There's no way other than that. And the refineries, as I said, cannot be shut down. We have to meet the demand of our petrol, diesel, LPG, or whatever it is for coming decades from those refineries, the petrochemicals, etc. The hydrogen is being consumed and producers of hydrogen in our refineries. Government has been thinking of mandating some percentage use of green hydrogen compulsorily in refineries. I wouldn't go into the debate whether this is the sector where we should give priority for using green hydrogen, because our refineries already have hydrogen producing capacity. And if they can, avoid the carbon emissions by CCUS technology and produce blue hydrogen in refineries, and let them use that, because we should look for other avenues for green hydrogen. But nevertheless, if government thinks that that's the right way to start with, that's because this will give a push to green hydrogen, I think there's no way that we should be opposing it. But at the same time, the economics will have to be seen, because the green hydrogen at this point of time, Mr. Ajay Shankar very rightly said, we should look at the policies from the economic side. India is a price-sensitive country. And if this use of green hydrogen, which will be more expensive, at least for some years, at least for the coming decade, as compared to the blue hydrogen or the hydrogen which we produce in our refineries, that will increase the cost of production of the petroleum products and fuels, etc. So whether that price sensitivity or some incentives can be given, or some excise duty reductions could be made on the fuel cost to compensate for the additional burden on refineries, that can always be discussed. So that's where the policies will have to be looked into to address the price sensitivity of the Indian consumers. Now, having said that, the energy demand for this country is going to grow, as I said. The incremental demand, we must try to meet through renewables. We have a target of 450 gigawatt, but we should be capable of exceeding this target with the kind of interventions which are happening, and the thrust being given by the government, very rightly so, on renewables, wind, solar, and even biomass is one which we cannot ignore in this country. We are an agriculturally predominant country. When I'm talking about India specific, that's very important. And the hydrogen production from biomass, whether it is through the biogas reforming, fermentation, or converting the waste to hydrogen, there are technologies available. We need to innovate further so that that hydrogen can be produced from such waste, which we otherwise cause pollution. Agro waste pollution is a big issue in northern India in the winter months. Everybody is aware about it. So if we could address those kind of issues, which will have a cost-effective solution of producing hydrogen. The other thing is that on the policy side, if we produce today the electricity cost from renewables has come down from solar, but the cost of transmitting electricity, there are issues which will have to be looked into from policy point of view, because if we produce electricity, solar electricity in Rajasthan, and we want to use it in our refinery in Mathura or in Panipat or Bathinda, and there is a cost of transmitting that electricity. So if those tariff incentives on those kind of tariffs could be given, the cost, the electrolyzers could be put near the refineries, or I'm not talking alone about refineries. Let us see the other industrial use. There are several where we can use. There are steel plants which can help decarbonize the economy. They're mostly using coal, natural gas, etc. So if steel making could be converted to hydrogen usage, that is also one area where. But if the hydrogen can be produced near the place of use economically, and the electricity transmission costs are reduced, then certainly this can help. Otherwise, transmitting hydrogen is even more expensive than transmitting electricity. So the hydrogen things, etc., is a difficult issue. Although we can mix hydrogen in the natural gas pipelines to an extent of 18%, but going beyond that can cause embrittlement of the pipes which are there for natural gas, or else we will have to build up the completely new infrastructure for gas, for hydrogen transmission. The high pressure storage, etc. We need some policy interventions from PESO side. Globally, the hydrogen storage at 750 bars is allowed, but Indian regulatory authorities, the PESO, has not been allowing more than 250 or 350 bar. Tank nor in the other systems or not for transportation. So I think the one of the policy intervention around the storage of hydrogen, transporting the hydrogen, is also required. And the codes and safety codes and standards in other countries are already there. We need not reinvent the wheel. So we can possibly adopt these safety codes and standards from other countries, which can be implemented in India. So and coming on to the one of the most energy consuming sector, the transport. It was said that some of these sectors which are difficult to electrify is one of the heavy duty transport vehicles. Heavy duty transport vehicles can be put on hydrogen fuel cells. The cost of fuel cells is likely to go down. The fuel cells are more than twice as energy efficient as compared to the IC engines. So if we use energy, whether in the form of today we are using diesel in the form of in the internal combustion engines. If we use hydrogen in fuel cells, the energy intensity can be cut down by more than half. So if you use less energy, and you can even produce hydrogen in the refineries, blue hydrogen, and use it in trucks in place of diesel, it is much more energy efficient. The total energy consumption of the country will go down. So I think these are some of the policy issues which come to mind at this point of time, which we need to implement in this country, which will help conserve the environment, will also cater to the energy needs of the country, will promote the Atmanirbhar Bharat kind of mission for producing hydrogen from the renewables, from biomass, and even blue hydrogen from the refineries. If you can use it more efficiently in fuel cells as compared to internal combustion engines, you will be reducing the overall energy demand of fossil fuels. So I think these are some of the initial thoughts. If any questions are there, I'll be happy, or any discussion at a later stage. So thank you very much.